Guys, we've got a few more people here now. Hi, Bren. And Sinead's here. Hi, guys. Welcome to this second episode of Guitar Night Live. This is at Ultimate School of Music. I'm Daniel Jacobson. I run Ultimate School of Music with Lisa. Lisa's here too. Hi, Lisa. And every Saturday night in April, we're going to do this live webinar, interview, Q&A session with a different guitar player. Last week we had John Walsh, the flamenco player. Some of you were there. That was really interesting. This week we have a guitar player who I've always really looked up to and just admired his playing. It's incredibly different when you hear this guy playing the guitar. It's like, whoa, that is so different to anything we usually hear around here. It's a whole different approach technically, and just the music. It's amazing. If you haven't heard him, I really can't wait until you hear him. And if you have heard him, you've been to his gigs, you've heard his music, then you know you'll be looking forward to hearing him and hearing him talk maybe a bit about his background and how he came to play guitar, how he came to be so good. And you can ask him questions as well. We have questions at the end. You can put up your hand if you want to ask a question. There's a little button at the bottom that you can click raise hand, and we'll see you have a question. You can do that. And yeah, so with no further ado, I would like to introduce Niwel Tsumbu. So Niwel, how's it going?
How are you? I'm good, yes. A bit of technical issues there, but we're here now.
We finally got in. There was something funny going on. Nobody else could get in either. It wasn't just you.
Okay. Was it just me?
It wasn't just you. Everybody couldn't get in, and I had to shut it down, start it again, and now everybody got in. So
okay.
There was something funny going on. It wasn't just you.
Okay. Thanks.
So you got your new mic working. You got your new.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your voice is a little quiet. You can turn it up a bit.
I can turn it up. Yes, I can turn it up. Hello.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. Cool. So, Niwel, thanks for joining me on Guitar Night Live. The top of my head's kind of being chopped off. But I want to ask you to tell us, first of all, about what age were you when you started playing guitar? And you're from the Congo. I forgot to say that earlier. But so you grew up in the Congo. And what age were you when you started playing the guitar? How did you come to play the guitar?
It was between 16 and 17 that I started. It was pretty late. I suppose most musicians in Congo, guitarists, would start at that age. My brother used to play. But my whole family is very musical. People always sing, and there's always a lot of singing. My mother will sing songs to us all the time, and in the church, there's always, in Congo, you grow up with music all around. There's always music. It's loud on the streets. The pubs are outside. But the guitar is my brother used to play. And he'd bring home the guitar. And I never really was interested until one day I asked him to show me one thing.
Yeah.
For years, the guitar came, I never touched it. Until one day I was like, can you show me this line? And he showed it to me, and that's how I never stopped.
Oh, that's brilliant. And what was that line? What was it?
That line is a very famous line. That's the line, it's a line by... Thanks. It's by a famous guitarist from Congo called Alema Kaba. So, I remember he showed me this. I just looked and then I played. And I spent the whole day. It was around 4 p.m. I remember very clearly. So I spent the whole day after that playing this until I was being woken up by a slap. Around kind of 6 in the morning, because I kept playing all night. Everybody went to bed. And I fell asleep playing it in the living room with all the doors and all the windows open. So my grandfather woke up and found me just fell asleep with the guitar, and I left the whole door open, and I was being woken up by a slap. What the hell did you do?
And how, so it took you one day and you were playing that.
Oh yeah, I just looked. He played. I just looked for few minutes and I just took and played. That's something. That's something. That's really a gift that I had to learn. I'm a very quick learner. That's always in not just in the music.
Yeah.
In whatever I do, I always have a mind that figure out things very quickly.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Thanks.
And where did you go next? Like, you learned that piece quickly after a day, and what happened then?
Well, what happened then because of that? Because so I started playing the guitar a lot, but just improvising. I didn't really go to him and ask for another thing. And I played a lot. And a year later, then, maybe 6 months after that, a friend of mine who was a little bit older, he used to play, but he was more of a he played already in the band and he was a drummer. So then he used to come to me because for some reason I was very creative with lines. He'd come to me, ask me for lines. So I started coming up with lines after that.
Wow.
For a year, he came every day. But then I asked him. I said I would love to learn a little bit more about the guitar. And then he said to me, after a week later or something like that, he came back and he said, actually, I met somebody that I think you really like. Because I said to him, I want to learn something big. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I didn't even say what type of music. I just said, I want to learn something big.
Yeah.
And he said, I found somebody who's like playing really big thing that you're gonna like. So this was like a new chapter, because I met it. Then I went to the rehearsal and I met this guy. He was playing this. Which at the time, something like this was like, whoa, how, even now actually, it's still amazing. It's an amazing rhythm guitar, So I saw him playing this, I was like, this guy is my man. And so...
That sounds like it's very intricate. It's like melodies and chords together. Very hard to play.
Well, this is... Congo is very, in Africa, Congo is known for guitar. If you want to find a guitarist in Africa, you go to Congo.
Yeah.
And this is a very typical rhythm guitar in Congolese songs, pop songs. Sing over this,
Yeah.
So this is a very Congo. Really, there's a lot of. Congolese music guitaring is very advanced compared to most African country.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. Such a groove to it as well. It's great. Yeah. And you were saying before that you started making up your own lines. Can you remember?
Yes.
Can you remember any of those pieces early?
Well, not really a lot, but I remember the only one I remember is lines like that. I used to come up with, really.
Brilliant.
But the thing is, I was the solo guy. I was really the solo guy. I was never the down here.
Right.
I always played up here.
Yeah.
So my friend used to say to me, you need to learn chords if you want to be good guitarist. I was like, why? Why would you play chords? Why you can just play up here? So I was the classic guy, classic solo kind of guy. I was never into chords. And I remember him playing D major, He played that. I was like, why? Why would you even play that chord? It doesn't sound good.
Brilliant.
So, but but the good thing about it, that's why to these days my style is very soloing. I always move around. I think that comes from that time. But the good thing meeting this person was like definitely the best part of my music. Learning music for me.
So did he teach you? Like, did Did you have lessons with him, or was it just more like he was just showing you things?
Oh no, this was like a very deep. I mean, the good thing about this is he was 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he was already, a seasoned Congolese player. I mean, he was playing all these lines, really amazing lines, and but he was getting into jazz.
Right.
So every morning, he went to practice jazz with his teacher. Then he said to me, "Well, if you want to be a good player, you need to learn jazz." That's what he said.
Yeah.
So it was like a perfect meeting because I was just this sponge. I was ready to just absorb anything, and he was learning jazz. So he started teaching me, jazz chords. So he was solo.
Yeah.
So that went on for like 4 years.
Is he the one who taught you Misty?
Yes, he taught me Misty, yeah.
Beautiful tune.
Yeah, amazing tune. He told me, this was, he didn't just teach me jazz, but he taught me how to be a musician, how to listen to music and music theory, all the basics of music.
Yeah.
Music, harmony, and a lot of songs, jazz music and traditional music. Like we became like real good friends because he said to me also, if you want to be a great musician, you need to listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
So from then on, I became like obsessed with going and finding tapes.
Yeah.
I mean, in Kinshasa, I would walk around the whole Kinshasa, just trying to find. If I heard anybody, I would always ask, do you know anybody who has any music that was not from Congo?
Yeah.
I'll go to them and I'll go and knock the door. Hi, they wouldn't even know me. Hi, I'm just a guy. I'm looking. Do you have any, music that's not from Congo? That's how I started discovering a lot of music, jazz music and flamenco music.
Would it be difficult to find jazz recordings like American Miles Davis and John Coltrane and all that stuff? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't have Extra Vision or or YouTube. Nothing like that existed. I mean, and in Congo, Congo has such a strong music personality. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. The only way you could find different music was if you met somebody who has relatives who live out of Congo. That's the way. But I'll tell you a story how I found the very first cassette of Miles Davis.
Yeah.
I think so. I used to going to practice to my mentor every day. I had to walk like an hour and a half. I'd walk to him, and I had to always cross a river. And so one day, this guy stops me. A kind of old guy, maybe in his 50s at the time. He stops me. He said, "Where do you always go? I see you every day going." I say, "Oh, I go practice with my mentor." He said, "What kind of music do you play?" I said, "Well, I'm learning jazz." And he asked me to play. So I played him. I think it was. Which is Charlie Parker.
Blues for Alice.
Yes. So I played him that. He was like so impressed because I mean, you don't find young musicians like that in Congo playing that kind of thing. So he calls me in his house and he gives me this tape of Miles Davis.
Wow.
And it was "We Want Miles." But it turns out he was a trumpet player.
Wow.
He was a trumpet player with actually OK Jazz, which is one of the most popular band. So we also became friends. He started also giving me a lot of tapes and stuff like that.
Did you play music with him?
Not really. See, when I met him, he wasn't well. I think he had some chest problems and stuff like that.
Right.
But he just loved me. Said, whenever you want any kind of music, come. He had a lot of tapes.
Yeah.
That was not from Congo.
Yeah.
So from him, I did also get a lot of tapes and stuff like that.
Wow, that's really amazing. I mean, my students here listening now, hour and a half walking to get to the lesson.
Oh yeah, that was.
Don't complain about traffic stuck 15 minutes. Come on.
Well, I used to walk from school first. I walked from school to home, which was another hour and a half. Then from my house to my mentor was another hour and a half, and that's no food, you know. There was, you know, eating was very rare.
Crazy, totally different world.
Yeah. But it's another cool thing about this actually. Going to that, you know, to my mentor, there's this vegetable called matembele.
Yeah.
It's a vegetable, okay? So obviously we're in my house. We didn't cook every day. Cooking was really not, you know, it was a rare thing. So, but me and my friend, you know, the drummer, would go and pick this matembele, which grew all over Kinshasa by the river, and we'd boil it, and then we eat it. This was even the poor of the poorest would not eat this. It's just the most, you can't eat it. It's just, it grows on the street, and so we'd boil it and eat it. We used to call it art. So whenever we were hungry, we said, oh, let's go make some art. So we go to the river, pick up the vegetable and boil and eat it. And I'll tell you, so fast forward to 2009, 2010. So I was living in Ireland. So I went back to Kinshasa, and I go to this very prestigious restaurant, and they're serving matembele. I was like, what? This is supposed to be, you know, this is like, you don't eat this. So now matembele is like the superfood. You know, everybody eats it now. So we were like way ahead of time, you know.
Brilliant. I've never heard. It's probably like nettles or something.
Yeah, well, it's kind of just like, I think it's something. It's similar to like spinach or something, but it's everywhere in Kinshasa. You know, everywhere. It's just like, I would say, just like not far from spinach.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. And what did you start playing gigs at that time when you were meeting these guys, when he's showing you Misty? Would you be playing gigs already at that time? Performing?
Well, so my mentor then, because he wanted me, like, mind you, all the time I played with him for like 4 years or more. Sorry, he never let me solo.
Really?
I always played chords.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was just a solo guy.
Yeah.
So he said to me, you have to just learn how to be a rhythm player. So he started playing with a singer, a gospel singer, Marie Misam, who passed away just a few years ago. So he said to me, actually, I'm working with a gospel singer now. Why don't you join me there, play a rhythm and guitar, so you can develop your rhythm guitar? So I started playing with him, with Marie Misam, and in churches and stuff like that. But the good thing about this is I learned
but not connected yet. Let's get you back on the audio. Hello?
Did I just go?
Yeah, we got you back.
Okay.
So you were playing with the gospel singer?
Yes. So with the gospel singer, it was amazing because I learned very old style of rumba. Yeah. I mean, you know, like what I play. This is very kind of modern, you know, kind of in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's this guy called Kofi Olomide. He kind of popularized this. But if you go back in the 70s, the style is very different. They used a lot of intervals, you know. So in the 70s, you know, there was a lot of this kind of intervals. So the gospel singer, she used to sing a lot of in this style. So I learned a great deal of this kind of style. You know, I mean, even amongst Congolese player of my generation, I don't know many that do this style as convincing as I've learned it, because I learned that from, you know, from her, and because of her I met a lot of older people who was playing in this kind of style, and I mean we played really. So this style you call it Odemba, I think.
And
So it's much kind of older. So I played with him a lot and in churches and stuff like that.
And was that what you're playing? Is that like accompanying the singer who's singing songs, gospel songs?
Yes, she's singing over that. This will be, yeah, she's singing over that. And my mentor is doing like the lead,
right,
guitar, like that. And in churches, I was not really into bands. You know, the only reason I got into band because of my mentor. You know, because for years people asked me to play in bands. I was like, I just want to play the guitar, I just want to learn. So he said to me, you have to join bands. So that's also when I joined the church as well. I played in the church for 3 years.
And is this after you were playing with the gospel singer, then you started playing with different bands?
Yes, but you know, the thing, because I was never into bands, I was kind of very stubborn in a way. You know, and I would always ask people to, you know, I was always asking them to do exactly what I want.
Sure.
So because I was, you know, like I wasn't really into the bands, then I was like, if you want me to join your band, then you have to do exactly what I want. And they would also learn to, so that's, in that way, that's why I developed a very strong characteristic of my playing, because I always come up with ideas. And they have to learn. If you don't, I just leave. So,
wow.
Yes. So that's how I developed my writing skills. Like, for instance, in the church, my friends used to come for like months. Can you join the church? Join the church. I was like, no, I don't want. Then he said to me, actually, you know, why don't you come? I said, what? I said, I can come, but as long as we don't play the normal church songs, as long as we write our own songs.
Wow.
They were like, okay, write songs. So in the first rehearsal, I turned up with like 10 songs. And you see, so that's how I developed my writing skills, you know, and stuff.
Can you play us a song you wrote at that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a lot of them, but this one, I remember this one. What was it? You can, even playing like that, you know, at the time I was maybe 17, and, you know, young people didn't play like this. This was considered like old style. Right. But I was able to do it because it's a little bit harder, you know. Younger people played with like single line. Kind of single lines, but I was able to come up, but this was the intro. Then the rhythm guitar, that was it. And there's a lot of singing, you know, because there's always singing and stuff, and I don't really remember a lot of them, but a lot of these songs, they are still played in the church today. They still play them, yes.
Amazing.
There's just some, you know, still today in the church.
So would you come with this rhythm and chord part, and the singers would make up some melodies on top of that, or would you give them melodies to sing?
Oh no, I had all the words. I had all the words, like, you know, I had all the words, all the chords, all the arrangements.
Wow.
You know, everything. That's why, because I always say, if you want me to join the band, you have to do exactly what I want. So I'll have all the parts.
Wow.
And the words, and so that's my writing skill developed that way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I have a very, you know, very clear idea of how my music. That's not something I've always had, very clear idea of how I want my music to go. And then over the years, obviously learning lots of different music, I was able to incorporate a lot of different styles and because also I got into classical music. That was you see, with my friend, his name was Dollar, like Dollar, because he was so good, so it was called Dollar. Everybody in Congo has a nickname, so his nickname was Dollar because it was so good. But we usually just play jazz, and then lots of different, rumba music, traditional music. Like this kind of music will be from people from the west of Congo, but we also did a lot of music from like the, maybe the north. The Congo is so huge. Every tribe has their own different type of music, and music of maybe the Bangala. Like this is music from the north, and so we did. It was really such a what can I say? Like a fountain. That's where I learned everything. It was like a fountain. I just went and we learned so much. We became such a good partner because I was finding music and bringing it. We listened to it, and we got to see a lot of different rehearsals of traditional music and playing the band. It was just a really wonderful, most wonderful experience, really. But then I wanted to learn finger picking.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask actually about that, because and what you're playing now, from a guitar point of view, the right hand it's like difficult. There's a lot of intricate things you're doing with the right hand, picking out different bass notes and chords and melodies at the same time. When you were learning those songs, did you have like someone teaching you how to technically play the guitar, or were you kind of figuring out yourself how to do things and learning more by ear?
Well, it's kind of over time. It developed over time. But in the classical music school, when I went for a year actually. I only stayed for a year because I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So because I was so interested in learning of just how to play music, I didn't want anything else. I didn't want to learn about history of music. I didn't want to learn about. I just So when I went there, they were teaching songs like. Sorry.
Up. Can you lift up so we can see your right hand as you're playing?
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, can you see? Can you see now?
A little bit better. Yeah, that's better.
And just bring the camera a bit down. How is that now?
Yes, thank you.
Songs like that. I just did find it very.
Did that change how you were playing with your right hand when you learned that classical music?
Say that again.
Did it change how you were playing when you learned classical technique with the right hand?
Yes, it did. It did change a lot because because before that, sometimes I would have played that like that, just with like one finger. But I learned that you have to use these fingers, and it definitely opened a new avenue for me.
Yeah.
But then I didn't really, because what happened. The reason I got into finger picking because I had a tape. One of the tape that I found, a tape of Brazilian guitarist. Actually, at the time, I didn't even know who the guitarist was. and now I also kind of forgot now, but but at the time it was just a tape of like, Brazilian guitar. It was just amazing. So that's what made me go there. But you see, the thing is, with classical, was just too slow or something. It was just too sad. The songs that we were learning was like, it was a. I was like, so I wanted, I was the solo guy. I always wanted like. That's what I wanted. But they didn't teach stuff like that.
Sure.
What we had to learn was like. I didn't really last long, so I didn't stay long in the classical school, but I did learn. It kind of gave me, it gave me a start with finger picking and reading music. That's what it did.
Yeah. And what about jazz on the other hand, where you'd started learning pieces like Misty and other standards, and were you practicing improvising through chords like in a jazz type of way as well as that?
Yes, yeah, I did. So, like, I mean, as I said, for years, that I did that thing more after. But for years, as I said, I just played chords for him. He'd solo.
Right.
Because he was also practicing, learning jazz. It's not, I think over the years then, I got into it, after him. But no, when we were practicing, he was very strict with that, because I came to him as the solo guy. He wanted to break that. So with him, he never let, I mean, what, I'm playing like this today, but he would only let me play. Now today myself, I can today I can improvise myself, but back then he would be like, "No, stop, just." It's good because it gave me good solid rhythm,
And do you think that it was like having the strict teacher only making you do the chords and really learn the discipline of just being the rhythm guitarist? Was that helped you doing that? Do you think that was?
Oh yes, it definitely learned. It definitely only later on I realized that. Like with rhythm, like I suddenly sorry, unfortunately, I don't really get a chance to play a lot of rhythm guitar, but I'm actually very good rhythm guitar, and I love doing it.
Yeah.
When I'm doing it, when people ask me to play today, they just do, oh, come on, Niwel, do a solo. But I'm actually, I really love playing rhythm guitar. When I'm doing it, I have the discipline of playing the same thing forever. I mean, we used to, like I can play something like that for 20 minutes non-stop, and I won't get bored. I won't get bored, That's from. Sorry.
We won't get bored either, just listening to you.
Thanks.
And
So
tell me,
definitely gave me a lot of even grind for rhythm, to have to be on time and stuff like that, and also listening what you're playing, hearing what everybody's playing at the same time.
right? And tell me then, so when you left the classical school, then where did you go after that? And how long was it then till you left the Congo?
I was just really after that I just was really crazy with learning. I really went. I was obsessed with learning. I used to just go to everybody. I apart from him, I started going to everybody. Like I met a guy who was from Tunisia. He he actually, he showed me what's up. He was playing metal, so he
Right.
showed me. I was like, he was. That's the first time for me to see somebody playing metal. He had distortion, playing Metallica.
And did you have an
So
electric? Did you have an electric guitar at that time?
no, just acoustic, really acoustic. But I learned, I haven't played in years, but it was the first time to see somebody like he had long hair and playing stuff like that.
And when did you
And
get an
then I used
electric?
to,
When did you get an electric for the first time?
well, then in the church. That was also another thing. I joined the church because the electric was there. I was like, at least I can start learning to play with electric guitar. And but before that, really was all acoustic. That's why even now I play a lot of acoustic at home. I hardly plug the electric.
Yeah.
But in the church, yeah, I only play electric in the church, but with bands not acoustic.
Ah. And so,
Yeah, and
how long?
I have another story actually. I
Okay.
used to go to another guy that I met. He was more of a Congolese kind of younger, but he was playing more of kind of a music of that time very well. So, but the funny thing is he's a good friend now of mine. So I used to go to him after I went to Dollar, and I'll go home. I go to him, and but he was more playing like So he was playing more kind of younger style, and so I was going and learning from him. But the funny thing is, he every day I went there. Every day I went there, so he just make me sit there. He would, wait for me, I'm coming. So his girlfriend would come, and then they go into the house, they do their thing for like an hour, and then he comes out. He goes, then he goes, come back again tomorrow. So I. So I went through all these kind of things, but I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. That's why I have a lot of knowledge of even like Congolese music, a lot of different music, because I met, a lot of people by just going around in Kinshasa and looking for things to learn. Also, I used to go to see a jazz band practice and stuff like that. In an area they used to play, like a jazz band. So I used to go there. I would just sit there and watch them play. So I was really obsessed in kind of learning.
Yeah, it's funny that word has come up. Anyone here last week heard John Walsh say this obsessed? John Walsh was saying that word as well a few times. Like he got obsessed with Bach, and then he got obsessed with flamenco, and now you said it as well a few times, and it's like this. You're thinking, wow, people.
Well, it's really I mean, it's really if you really want to be good at whatever you're doing, that's the only way. You have to kind of just really go deep into what you like and to understand, But for me, it wasn't like it's just I was more kind of just pulled into it, It's just like this force, I forgot everything, you know. It was just this force that's pulling me, you know. That's what it was.
And do you want to grab your electric and play some electric for us at the end?
Okay, yeah.
While you're changing over, I'll just mention I put the link there in the chat window of the PayPal link for Niwel, because Niwel, like really all the musicians who mostly rely on the gigs, all the gigs are gone. Gigs are gone. Gone. So also, if you have questions at this point, click the hand up, or you can do a question there. There's one question open. So you can put your hand up, or you can click the Q&A and write the question. We'll take
hello?
Yeah, hello.
So
totally different technique. So you're using your pick.
Yes, with the electric, I use the pick, but I also use those kind of, you know. I still use the fingers as well.
Yeah.
But I like the sound of the pleck, you know, on the electric.
Yes.
And then, but with the electric, really, a lot of this line, like those kind of lines. A lot of these lines will be played on the electric, really.
Sounds great. Really nice sound.
Thanks. I mean, I just plugged in, you know, I didn't even...
Sure.
I just plugged in. Thank you.
You know what they say? And tone is all in the fingers, Niwel. That's what they say.
Yeah, well, I actually say it's all in the mind. That's what I always think. I think you have the sound, you hear it, and then the finger just execute. That's how I think.
Oh, got a question came in. I think it's from Alex. How long do you practice each day?
Well, I obviously, those years when I was learning, I was practicing all the time. But now, you know, I have kids, you know, it's bit by bit. You get like 10 minutes here, you get an hour here, 2 hours. But if I have a day, I could play for a whole day nonstop if I have a day. But, you know, it doesn't really happen a lot. But if I have a day, even a week, I can play with a week with no food.
And so anybody, if you have a question, just you can click on put your hand up, or you can ask in the chat window. We'll ask Niwel. And the PayPal is not working. I don't know if the link is clickable. So we'll email it to you after this. So Niwel, when you started playing, when you're playing electric in the Congo, how long was it then until you left the Congo and did you come from the Congo to Ireland?
Yes. Well, it was really, I mean, all the time, like in the church, I played electric, you know, but at home I'd always have, so I was always between electric and acoustic. But really the nylon string really started a lot when I met a friend who was to be a singer, and he wanted me to accompany him. And he had a nylon guitar string, because before it was acoustic, but it was a steel string. But a friend of mine, he had a nylon string, and that's the first time I could have a nylon at home. But I was always between electric and acoustic all these years.
Yeah.
It was always like that. I never went with acoustic, no electric. I was always between both.
Sure. And did you have any new teachers or musical experiences in the Congo in those years before you came to Ireland? And also, why did you come to?
Say that again.
When years before you left Congo, the few years
Yes.
before 2000 to 2004, did you have any new teachers or new musical experiences during that time?
Um, Not really. I mean, I think towards the end, those years, I became more of a, like I had so much information. I think now I was more questioning everything that I've learned. So by the time I came to Ireland, it was more, I started more kind of sort of cherry picking all this information that I've learned. What did I like and what I didn't like. So I started kind of creating my own vision of what I really wanted my music to sound like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after that, after him, I never really had another teacher. I went to some teacher, but I went to Mike Nielsen, for instance,
Oh,
and
really?
when I came to Holland, yes.
He
I
was
went
also
to,
my teacher at that time.
oh, great. Yeah, so I saw Mike Nielsen playing nylon string, and I was like, wow,
You're back again.
yeah, sorry for that.
That's okay.
Is that
So,
me? Okay.
Newell,
So,
if so, you teach on Skype at the moment. If anyone wants a lesson, how do they contact you?
and they could contact me on my email, Niwel Tsumbu music at gmail.com. And yeah, I'm using Zoom actually. So this is the second time that I'm using it. So
Oh yeah,
Zoom should be fine.
and also another link there. So how long did you have lessons with Mike when you came to Ireland, Mike Nielsen?
That's it. That's it. When I came to Mike, that's as I'm saying. I already had enough information.
Yeah.
So I didn't stay long. I think I went twice. And then I went to Marco O'Reilly, the Cork guitarist.
Okay.
Then after that, I was like, I didn't really learn anything new. I was like, well, I need to just stop learning from people now, just figure out myself. So really my journey in Ireland in terms of learning is just really been figuring out myself.
Okay, we've got some questions here coming in. So
Okay.
Steve Burke says, really enjoying your playing. What contemporary music do you take influence from, if any?
Oh, I take influence from all the music that I've heard. There's always something. As I say, my mentor said to me, you should listen to all music and take what you like and leave what you don't like. So basically, all music. I mean, a lot of jazz. I love jazz because of the improvisation side of it.
Mm.
I love classical music because of just the beauty. Just so beautiful. And the way they use the harmony. I mean, all music, flamenco. I love flamenco because I got into Paco de Lucia. I love Paco with the, like flamenco. I love because I learned from the technique of the right hand and stuff like that. So there's a lot of music influenced me.
Did you ever have a lesson with John Walsh?
No, but I want to.
Me too.
I told him already, actually.
Yeah. And
I told him already.
another question.
Go on.
Do you still practice purely technique? And what do you find most beneficial if you practice technique?
Well, this might be controversial, but I think the best way to learn music is by listening to music.
Yes.
Not really by learning how to play music, by listening to music. But guitar, the best way to be good at guitar is to learn how to play the guitar, which is a two separate thing. So when you say technique, to me simply means a way of doing something, and you will need to have that way to be sort of efficient. so that you will enjoy what you're doing.
Gotcha.
And so I don't learn how, I don't practice music in a way. I practice a new song that I'm gonna perform, but I'm always trying to find the most efficient way of playing the guitar. It's just like breathing, even breathing something the most, something we don't even think about, but it's a specific way of breathing that if you learn how to do it, you would, it'd be more beneficial to you, So I think of it the same with music. I think technique, you should always develop your technique, but not technique in the sort of standard way. From when people talk about technique, they think about things you can do, but for me, technique is how you use your body to play the guitar.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking. That way, you should always develop that. Get that as efficient as possible.
Yes.
That's the best way to play the guitar.
It's interesting.
Or whatever you're doing.
We've got another question coming in here. This is Terence. Terence, are you there? I'm going to unmute you so you can talk. Terence. I can see it in the
Sorry?
Terence's question was, did you play in any big bands in the Congo?
Well, I played with a band. I mean, I played with a lot of different bands, but I played also with a band called Wenge. But I mean, they weren't a huge band, but they were in a well-known band.
And one more question in from Alex again. How did you learn so fast?
How did I learn so fast?
Yes.
Like, how, I don't know. I mean, to play guitar or just to learn in general?
Yeah, just in general. You mentioned you're fast at learning things in general, so you always just been like that.
Well, people usually say I have a gift of playing guitar. I usually think I say I don't. I learn how to play guitar, but my real gift is learning. In anything that I get into, my brain figures out things very quickly if I'm into it.
That's great.
I find it. If I'm not, the other thing, if I'm not into it, I can't even fake it. I can't fake to try. But if I'm into it, I always get into, I find it easy to learn. So I don't know where that's coming from. Could be in the gene, I don't know.
Yeah, that question's coming in from one of my students who's 11. Alex is also a very fast learner like you. That's right, isn't it, Alex?
Oh, great.
You're going to learn to play like Niwel. So I think all the questions are in now, and it's 9 o'clock, so anyone else has one, we'll take it. But otherwise, we'll start wrapping up. I put another couple of links in there in the chat window. Link to our mailing list if you want to get emails from us with free events that we're putting on, like this one. We've got another couple of Guitar Night Lives next week. Hugh Buckley is our
great
guest. No, Hugh.
Nice. I played with Hugh Buckley.
Yes.
We did it too with Hugh Buckley before.
Lovely.
It was great.
Hugh's a very like mentor kind of guitarist in Dublin to lots and lots of guitarists here.
Yeah, I know.
Great
jazz player.
Yeah. And also we have our own programs and guitar programs live stream as well. If you want to check them out on our website, ultimateschoolofmusic.ie, I put that in there in the chat as well. So it's time to start wrapping it up. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. And we want to hear you play a while before we finish. That's what we're hearing from the panelists. Play us a tune to finish. Thank you, Niwel.
Thank you.
I hear one person clapping, unfortunately, but I heard everyone giving you a round of applause. What was that you were playing?
That was actually one of my songs I wrote it years ago for a movie.
Oh, wow.
But in a very Congolese style, yeah. In a very Congolese rumba style.
Beautiful.
So I always love playing that. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Oh, we've got a lot of chats there coming in saying thank you very much and loved it. Are these on every week? Yeah, perfect. Not made to be confirmed. You've got talent. So brilliant. Let's wrap it up there and have a great rest of the weekend, Niwel. Thank you so much for playing and telling us about your journey. Very, very interesting stuff. It's great to hear you play. Great to chat to you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Nice one, guys. See you next week or see you sooner than that, students. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye bye.